Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. Today we're going to go over a couple of global company mods. If this is what you're looking for, please stay tuned. Alright folks, this is my first in a series I'm going to come out with on how to use various aspects of global companies. So, first off, just a disclaimer, when these come out, I'm going over the version that is the most up-to-date as of today when this comes out. If you comment down below saying, oh, well, this is out of date, I'm sorry, I'm probably not going to do an updated video unless there's some huge changes to it, but generally they just make kind of little fix changes and bug changes. But today, the two mods we're going to go over, the first one is going to be a global company, like just the base mod, which is kind of what we're going to build off of. And the second one's going to be the global company icon. So we're going to go over those two mods today in kind of some more detail. And just so you guys are aware, as far as everything goes, we are using, if I can pull it up here, we are using, for global company, we're using version 1.7.1.0. This is by Alice Mod Company, Kevin98, Apri, and Erebus. There should be a link down below in the description to get to this. This is for PC and Mac players only, as most global company stuff is, if not all. I think all of it is. Then the second one is global company icons. That one is by basically the same people, or the same group of people. This is version 1.0.1.0, so 1.0.1.0. So that is what we're using. For the icons as well, we're only going to go over just the kind of the basic crops. And I'll explain that when we get there, but we're not going to go over everything you possibly could imagine could come up. So we're just going to do basic crops and kind of what it means. So the first thing we are going to go over, though, is going to be global companies. So if you are new to the game and you don't know what it is, or you don't have it activated, once you have it downloaded and activated, to use it, all you're going to do is hit Control G, that's G as in George, and it'll open up this menu. This is the global company menu, and more different sections may open up on this top screen for you to select as you install more global company mods, which we'll go through those as we get to those specific mods. As you can see, we are on Ravenport. So this is your factory. So if you had any factories or any production plants installed that you could place, it would show up on the map as a blip, like a little blue dot, if you selected it over here. And we'll go over the factory menu in more detail when we actually add some factories in, which we're not going to do in this specific tutorial or guide. So the goal is to keep these relatively short, sweet, and to the point, and that way you can kind of select which specific tutorials you want to see, that we don't have to see them all. Then moving over, so we're in the first one, which is this little factory emblem. The second one is dynamic storages. So this is going to have different storages you have that require global company to be on. So such as one that might require hay bales or different things like that. And just note, if there is a storage that does require global company, it'll let you know, and it will be for PC and Mac players only in general. So these will show up in here. Then over here, these are just some error messages or different messages that may come up as far as regarding global companies. So I'm not going to go into any details on these. That's just what these are if you see them. The big thing we're going to cover is some of the stuff in here. So I'm going to turn all of these off just to start, and we'll go through each one of them one by one. So the first one we're going to go over is activate extended placeable. So I'm going to leave that off. So typically when you're placing something, we'll say we're placing a workshop, you can't place it like in weird areas, or it has to be a good spot where it can modify the terrain and do whatever else. So we can place one here, for example, but then we can't. You gotta wait till you get a good spot. Like you might be able to place it kind of close, but you couldn't do anything crazy like this or like that, or place it somewhere really strange. Looks like you have a couple areas where you might be able to modify it over there, but regardless, it makes it more difficult. And we own this land, so down here on land we don't own, we can't place anything. But if we exit out of there, we go back into here, we activate that, we now, if we go in here, first off, we can place on land we don't own, so we can place that there if we want, or anywhere else. And notice, like, I'm placing it over top of the train tracks. You normally can't do that. If we come back up here, I now can place it inside of this guy if I wanted to, or inside of that. I mean, I'm not saying you necessarily want to do this, but it allows you to place things very close together. So it makes it much easier to place different things. So if I can place, there, I can do another one there. So it makes it much easier to place stuff around. And then if I wanted to put one of these in, I could do it literally inside there. So It's yeah, I know it's kind of funny to think like, why would you need that? It's more so you can place stuff closer together, and I'm just using the extreme as an example. So that is the activate extended placeable. So we'll turn that off. Now show object info is another good one. So I have a bale here, a couple of pallets here. If I come up, nothing comes up. I have super strength on, but that's a whole different story. So nothing comes up. It just, you don't necessarily know. This we can tell is probably liquid fertilizer since that's on it, and there's a wool pallet down here that, yeah, we don't know exactly how much is in there. I mean, we can assume it's probably full, but if we go to this screen and we turn show object info on, I get close enough. It says that there is 1,000 liters of wool in here. It's 100% full. The fill type is wool, and I'm the owner, my farm. So it kind of gives you that option there. And if I come up here, same thing, 2,000 liters, my farm, liquid fertilizer. If I come up to this bale, it's going to be 4,000 liters of straw. Yep, straw, 4,000 liters, owner's my farm. So it gives you some more details that you may not normally get. So I'm not going to go into all the different things that would work on. I'm just going to show you that that's kind of an option. So it will give you some other things such as that. Horse helper, the next one here, I'm going to demonstrate for you. So if we have that turned off, normally for horses, so I have a horse pen up here. We're going to jump up here to this horse pen. So I have 8 horses in here. They have water, they have food. If we go into the menu here and go over to them, they have everything you need, which we'll go over the fact that they have a different symbol here in a second. But so yeah, they have what they need. They have oats, they have hay, they have straw, they have water, they have what they need. So normally to get horses value to increase, you have to ride them every day for 5 minutes. So for 8 horses, you're looking at 40 minutes. But we go into here and we turn this on. Every day at 11 p.m. or 2,300 hours, it will bill us $300 per horse for that day, and it will train all these horses to their full capacity for the day. So I use this constantly. So as long as the horses are fed, watered, everything like that, what we can do now is we can fast forward through time. So once we get up to 11 p.m. tonight, it's going to bill us $2,400 for the 8 horses, $300 per horse. So we'll wait, we're at 8, 9, 10, and 11. So there we go. Now we go over midnight there, so it bills us for them there. Now if we go in, let's actually get us back to some daylight here. Perfect. But now if we go into the menu here, these guys now have been trained up and they're more valuable. So every single one will get trained based on that. So that's something that's very nifty, a very nifty tool to use. I use that constantly just because it saves you a lot of time. You don't have to ride horses. You're paying someone to do it for you, which is, I think, very reasonable. Now, the next one I'm not going to be able to demonstrate, but I'll talk about. So without activate more trees on, essentially if a map, like especially this happens in forestry maps, if you wanted to place a tree on a forestry map, you're probably not going to be able to do it because it's probably going to be at the tree cap. So it's not going to be able to place more trees on there because it has too many trees already on the map. This overrides that essentially. And now it does have some issues. I've noticed it does not work on every map and it does not work all the time. So this should override it so you can plant and place as many trees as you want if you have that selected. So that's just another option to try out. Again, I have noticed it doesn't work on every map, on every tree, everything like that. I've had issues with it. So just be aware, but that is its intention. All right, and the final thing we're going to talk about is activate cut bale. So without that on, you walk up to a bale, nothing. Up on the screen there, nothing. You can't pick it up, nothing. Nothing. Yep, nothing there. Okay, well, let's go ahead and go in there and activate that. Perfect. So now if we walk up to it, up there in the upper left-hand corner, it says cut bale. So if I right-click, it will cut that 4,000 liter bale into 4,000 liters of straw. If I come up here, same thing for hay. And this does work for silage bales and everything else. Now, you do have to own the land. So I do own the BGA. I own this. But if I go down here to the shop, let's go ahead and, oops. Let's go down there real quick. It should not let me do this one because I don't own the land. There's no option. I'm right-clicking. Nothing's happening. I don't own the land here. It won't let me tip it to the ground. So just be aware of that. Now, I have noticed, so normally if I hit F11, my F11 screen will come up, easy development commands. Now, I have noticed that when using this function, it conflicts really strongly with easy development controls and won't let me do this as efficiently. So there may be something to be said there as far as it may not work as well with some other stuff going on. So just be aware of that. I recommend if you're gonna use this excessively, get rid of any other kind of functionality mods that are not global company out of the background. In general, less mods usually means it might run smoother, especially if there's something like this that adds a lot of extra scripts into the game. But anyhow, that is the final function of that. So the last thing I want to go over with you guys is the global company icons, which is an emblem I showed you a little bit earlier. So if we go into the menu here, you'll notice, well, first off on this screen, you notice different symbols for all the different crops. Those aren't base game symbols or anything like that. So this is what it changes. It goes through and changes all the crop and fill type icons with something that looks a little bit more colorful, a little bit more exciting, if you will. So if you go over here, you're going to notice that here. So if I go over and I turn on this right here, you can see that there's the in-game ones that I put in, the standard base game symbols I put up there on the screen as well. So you can see kind of how they compare. Now, if I turn that off and I move us down to starting with potatoes, then you can see here if I put this one up on the screen, potatoes, sugar beets, cotton, sugar cane, eggs, wool, and milk. So that's how those compare. And then if I go to the very end here, starting at wood chips there, that is how they compare their wood chips, silage, grass, hay, straw, manure, and slurry. It does definitely make it easier to tell the difference between grass, hay, and straw. That is for sure. But other things, it may not be easier for you. But in general, it's pretty self-explanatory. So let me turn that off for us. So this applies to a lot of different things. As you noticed with our horses earlier, they have a different symbol. They're normally not like that. So I have actually several different things I want to show you here. So if we go over to the chickens and we go to where we're going to buy chickens, the chickens have a different symbol as well. So just a little bit more colorful. If we jump over to cows, cows are going to be the same way. And I'm sure you probably can imagine where this is going. If I could find the buy point for cows over here. Boom, cows have a different symbol. So now they're not different per type of cow, but there's different symbols there regardless. So now if we jump over to pigs, pigs are going to be the same exact way. We come over here to where you buy pigs. There you go, pigs have a different symbol. We go to sheep. Sheep have a different symbol as well, as you can imagine. I can go to the right spot to buy them right here. Perfect. Sheep have a different symbol. We go into the store. Fill types, well, let's go to a trailer here. Fill types are down here. They're put out a little bit different. Now, there's a few down here you probably don't recognize. So there's wood chips, which isn't to be confused with these guys right here. So let's actually go over to a trailer that just does bulk. Here we go. So we already know some of these. We know silage, we know hay, grass, sugarcane, straw. This is chaff. And this is wood chips there. So now let's go to a feed mixer right here. So we have TMR, we have, gosh, where is it? Forage. Here's the forage icon. Then we have hay, silage, and straw. So those are those different fill types there. If we go to pallets, this is the symbol for liquid fertilizer, for herbicide, for seeds, for saplings, for poplars, and then we already know the sugarcane one there. So then if we go over to animals, for example, there's a symbol for water. These guys will have those same symbols. They're feed mixers as well. So be aware of that. Let me see what else. Is there another symbol I miss? Yes, there is. Let me go over to, let's go into here. Digestate Slurry, we already saw, but there's Digestate, the symbol for it. So if we go back out to here, let's go over to fertilizer technology. There's the symbol for solid fertilizer, and there's the symbol for lime. So those are the new symbols for that. Now, I'm sure I'm going to miss tons, and this is only just kind of the basic kind of stuff in here. So don't, I mean, there are other symbols. You usually can figure it out. If you're playing on a map that has different crops, this is the easiest way to kind of go about figuring out. But it also does work as far as like your fill types go. So if I get in this truck right here, there's water in the back. You see it has that custom fill type there. Now, if I get into this right here, and I put anything into that trailer, it will have that same fill type, which I can't because I don't have the easy development controls on, but it's going to put that fill type in the bottom, similar to what it does here. So you'll be able to see it down there in the bottom corner. So that is kind of how the icons work. So it's just if you want something a little bit different, if you find these easier for you, then use those. For me, I tend to not use them, not because I don't like them by any means. I actually like them quite a bit, but I just am so used to the in-game icons that I've got them figured out for the most part. So I usually just use those. There are some things you'll notice will stay as the base game icon if there's not a global company icon available, such as like the Straw Harvest DLC as of this coming out doesn't have its own icon, so different stuff like that. But anyhow, guys, that is the first video I have in this series. I'm going to try to go through every global company mod and production plant and how to use them and everything like that. So Stay tuned to this series. There should be at least one video coming out a week on Global Company, possibly 2 some weeks, but I'm going to try to keep those coming out to you guys. So if you enjoyed, drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on your screen to join the channel and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any tutorials, tests, or gameplay videos that I may post. This has been Farmer Cop, guys. Thank you for coming and watching.